Back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well. Today I'm going to discuss grief etiquette, why I feel that it should be mandatory for grief manners and etiquette to be taught in schools to our children, why us as a society does not talk about it quite enough. Also, I want to talk about widow's fog and a few other topics that I had written down. But yeah, okay, let's start. The only two guarantees in life. Sorry guys, I'm fixing my watch here. It keeps falling off. Anyways, the two guarantees that anyone truly has in life is being born and dying. How come our society doesn't talk about death enough? You know, we fear what we don't know, the unknown. And, you know, it's common sense that nobody likes to talk about death and loss. But on the other hand, it's something that needs to be talked about, especially when it comes, you know, what not to say, how not to act. And I believe because we shun away from even discussing the topic of loss, that the people who do lose someone suffer the most. You know, unless you've lost someone close, do you understand how grief really works in that aspect. But yes, I feel that grief etiquette and, you know, how to help someone who is grieving is a subject that should be mandatory throughout all schools, starting from very young children to learn, because it is 100% fact at some point in your life you are going to come across somebody who has lost someone, and at some point in your life you are going to lose someone, whether it's a close friend, a family member, grandparents, a dog, an animal. So, you know, it only makes sense that we would teach our children starting young how to console somebody, the right things to say to somebody who is grieving. If I had $1 for every person who says, oh, give it time, you'll be better in time, you'll heal. Good thing you're young. You can still go find somebody and marry. You know, you can have other kids with somebody. You know, he's in a better place or she's in a better place. No, there is no better place than right here with me. So please don't ever say that to someone. They are in a better place. There is no better place besides here. Yeah, so that is my feelings on that. And I'm sure if you've lost a spouse, significant other, or somebody very close to you, then you completely understand what I mean. I also want to discuss something called widow's fog. I thought this term was so absolutely crazy. Like, there's a term for it. And unless you have been through it, do you know what I'm talking about? Widow's fog. Now, I've been doing a little bit of research because, you know, for the actual definition of this. But what I'm coming up with is widow and widowers experience a phenomenon called widow fog that begins with the loss of a spouse and can vary in duration and intensity among individuals. This fog is often described as being in a disconnected autopilot state of mindless motion. Wow. Yep. That's like 100%, especially within the first year. So I've been told by many widowers, sorry, I got an itchy nose, guys. God, I'm horrible at this video crap. And I'm bad at editing altogether, so bear with me with this whole thing of editing and videos. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to edit that out. Okay, so widow's fog. I've had a lot of people tell me that it lasts the first year, and that is 100% the truth. The first year of loss, you are going to be on autopilot, like a motionless robot, just going through daily tasks. Your mind's so far off from those tasks. Like I mentioned in my first video, at one point I was driving around in circles, just mindlessly. Granted, that was early on, so that was part of my shock. But as it continued on, I became like a robot. I just was going through the motions of daily life. Very disconnected from the world around me. I wanted to be isolated. I didn't want to be around anyone. But everyone experiences different grief. So whereas I am extroverted when I'm around people, but I'm truly just an introvert who does like to be alone for the most part. That might differ from someone who is an extrovert who needs people around at all times. So, and there is a quote that I read something similar and I kind of swapped it out a little bit, but survival is possible during this first year of becoming a widow or barely widowed. But survival and happiness are often not the two same things. And that is the truth. The first year is about survival, I have to say. It's just about getting through, navigating this whole new world that you've been thrown into. It's the hardest year you're ever going to go through in your life. I promise you that. And looking back now, since I am 5.5 years out, I can say I miss that first year because that's when I was closest to him. And year 2 is a whole lot worse. And you're going to hear that from a lot of people. Now, if you are newly grieving, I'm not sure if you are aware, there are groups on Facebook. If you search for young widows or widowers, there's actually a whole bunch of them by now. So I am a part of a couple, and I've met some great other widows that I've connected with throughout the years now, and who I've made some lifelong friendships with. So if you haven't already, I suggest going to look on Facebook, go into search on the groups for young widows, widowers. There are so many of them, and join a group. I can't stress it enough, especially the first year. After the first year, though, maybe limit the groups because, you get to this point where you want to kind of move on, and you know that you can't with that daily pop-up reminder and, keeping yourself immersed in that. But yes, so the first year is going to be tough. And I'm going to go into some other videos with some resources I have for financial matters, Social Security, widow's benefits, survival benefits. There's literally so much I have going on for research. I've been collecting, writing different topics down that I want to discuss. But this first year, hang in there. Know that fog that you are experiencing is a real thing. You are not going insane. I promise you. There was a point where I thought I was literally losing my mind because of that fog, because I was so disconnected from reality. And then I found out that there is a name to this, which is the widow's fog. Grief brain, it can also be called, that I'm looking at right here.
And I also want to discuss what is complicated grief. And if you bear with me just one second. So I am somebody who has suffered from complicated grief. Now, if you're completely new here, you're like, oh, what the hell is complicated grief? Pretty sure all grief is complicated. So it's crazy that they came up with an extra term for this, but grief in general is complicated. But when 6 months passed and I was still not functioning on a daily basis, I still was living in that moment, in those last moments, replaying videos, replaying the memories. I literally couldn't escape the pain. And they say after 6 months to a year, if you are not past that point, then that means you have something called complicated grief. And it's a disorder. It is a proposed disorder for those who are significantly and functionally impaired by prolonged grief symptoms for at least 1 month after 6 months of bereavement. So, there's a high percentage rate of suicides when it comes to widows, widowers in general. And a lot of those are widows who are suffering from complicated grief. It got to the point where after the 6 month and I still couldn't function, I had to go seek out a grief therapist to talk to, and I had to seek out a psychiatrist for medication, for sleeping meds, because I was not sleeping at all. I just couldn't sleep at all. Being newly alone in a house with a child, your whole security, your sense of fear, everything is ripped from you. So I think that was a reason I couldn't sleep. But I did get on sleeping meds, which really truly saved my life during this time. And I got on anxiety meds, which definitely helped. Now, I only suggest this on getting on medication and seeing your doctor and getting prescribed if you are in a prolonged sense of grief, if you are having a hard time functioning and, basically going through these motions, but functioning, and I don't know the word I'm looking for, so I will edit this out right here. So I suggest to go see a doctor, psychiatrist. Your primary care doctor can set you up. If you call your insurance agency, they can set you up with a grief therapist and a psychiatrist. If you are having a hard time not getting over, that's the wrong terms. Let me X that out. If you're having a hard time functioning after a few months, if you can't get away from the pain for even an hour throughout a daytime, then the medication in general will help. But also that comes with a catch-22. I got off the medication after about halfway through my second year. I came off that medication just because I wasn't liking the way it was making me feel. And with the sleeping medication, I was having the craziest dreams that were like so realistic and real, and they were freaky, so I couldn't do the sleeping meds anymore. I am happy to say that today I am a whole lot better. And I can sleep for the most part, but I do still have a hard time at night getting myself down, shutting my brain off, that whole fun stuff. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing okay out there. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask below in the comments section here. And if you could like and subscribe to my videos, that would be wonderful. And my next video, I'm going to prepare on going over financials and different resources when it comes to becoming a widow. So please stay tuned for the next video. And like I said, like and subscribe. I don't know, there's a button down there somewhere. Like and subscribe so you can watch my next video. And if you have a topic you want me to discuss, please, please, please message me. My Instagram and I think I have my Twitter account. I'm not sure. I have another account on here on my header on my YouTube page, my header there. If you click on that, it will direct you to one of my accounts where you can go ahead and message me if you want me to discuss a topic or if you're struggling with something. Yes, please reach out. Like I said, you are not alone, and